All right, I want to welcome everybody to GS Gold, your first day. You've been through GS1 and GS2. I'm so proud of you. I really appreciate you getting this far. I want you to stand to your feet, and everybody, I want you to make sure to repeat this creed. You know it, you've done it before. 3, 2, 1. I am a gentleman. I have honor. I do honorable things. I have integrity. I do the right thing when no one's looking. I have respect for myself and others. I value my education. I am a gentleman. Thank you very much. Have a seat. Now, today we're going to talk about something that's extremely important. But before we do, the word for today is recall. Recall. In other words, what can you recall out of your memory? What can you bring out? What can you remember? What can you bring about from your own personal database in your mind? What can you recall? What can you call again right away? Now I want you to ask yourself, do you have a phenomenal memory? I mean, is your memory just ironclad? It's just great. No issues, no problems whatsoever. Whatever you heard and seen, you can pull it back up right away. If you've seen some notes, then you can pull them up 10 years later and boom, you've got those notes right in your head. If you've seen something on a test, no problem. You can take the test again. You got it 100%. Chances are you're saying, not quite. I really don't have that great of a memory. As a matter of fact, on the scale of 1 to 10, most people rate themselves between a 3 and 6. But I'm going to show you today how you actually have a great memory. And I'm going to show you how to unlock that memory with today's advanced memorization. Now, before we get started, though, I want to give you some things. All right, so let's start off. Let me see. Baseball, shoes, traffic light, table, starfish, soda, let's see, heaven, and figure skating, cats, heaven, let me think. Oh, yeah. Bowling pins, that's a good one. Train tracks and roses. How about that? Now, I want you to think to yourself, how many of those you can recall? I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to figure out how many of those you actually remember, and I want you to see what you can do. All right, well, back. How did you do? How many of those did you remember? 3, 4, 8? How many were there? Were there 12, 15, 22? Which one was number 3? How about which one was number 2 or number 5, number 6? I mentioned train tracks. At what point did I mention that? Now you may be thinking, I have no idea and there's no way to know it. Look, you don't even have to write these down. I'm going to give these to you in another way, and you're going to be able to remember these for the rest of your life. I know you're thinking that's probably not going to happen. Pastor Washington, you don't understand. I don't have a great memory. You do have a great memory, and I don't want you to ever say that again, and I'm going to show you how. First of all, let's look a little differently at this same list. We started with baseball. I want you to think about this. How many balls at one time does it take to play the game of baseball? That's right. It takes one ball. So number 1 is baseball. 1 ball to play the game, baseball is number 1. Now, number 2 was shoes, because we wear shoes in pairs. A pair of shoes, number 2. Number 1 was what? You got it. Baseball. Number 2 is shoes. Number 3 was traffic light. We have red, yellow, and green. 3 lights on a traffic light. Number 3. Number 1, baseball. Number 2, shoes. Number 3, traffic lights, because there are 3 lights on a traffic light. Number 4 was table. You can probably figure out how we got to table because it has 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4 legs on a table. Table is number 4. What was number 1? Right, baseball. Number 2, there you go, shoes. Number 3, yeah, traffic light, those 3 lights. Number 4, table. Number 5 was a starfish. I'm sure you can figure out why 5 was a starfish, because it has 5 points on a starfish. What was number 3? All right, good. I'm just testing you. Number 1. Okay. What was shoes? Okay, good. Now we're up to number 6. Number 6, we say soda because a lot of times sodas come in a 6-pack. So remember, a 6-pack is a soda. It's number 6. Number 5 was a starfish because it has those 5 points. Number 4 was table. Number 3 was traffic light. Number 2, you guessed it, shoes. Number 1, baseball. Now we're up to 7. 7 is heaven. It just rhymes. 7th heaven. Okay? Real easy. 8, figure skating. Remember, they figure skate and ice skate in the number 8. Okay? 8 is figure skating. 7 is heaven. 6 is sodas. 5, starfish. 4, table. 3, traffic lights. 2, pair of shoes. 1, baseball. Got it? Okay. Now let's move to number 9. Number 9 was cats. Can you guess why cats is number 9? Right. Cats have 9 lives. What was number 7? Heaven. Okay. Number 5? Starfish. Okay. Now we're up to number 9 being cats because cats have 9 lives. Now, number 10 was bowling. Sometimes we actually say bowling pins because if you think about it, it takes 10 pins for you to play bowling. Whenever you go to bowl, you're trying to knock down all 10 pins. So, number 10 is bowling. 9, cats. Right. 8, figure skating. 7, right, heaven. 6, sodas. 5, starfish. Good, good, good. 4, table. 3, traffic light. 2, pair of shoes. 1, baseball. Okay, we're up to number 10. Now let's go to 11. 11 is train tracks. It's kind of interesting because if you see train tracks, they look like the number 11. Okay, real simple. 11, train tracks. 12 was roses. Let's see if you can guess why 12 is roses. Come on, let me hear you say it out loud. Right. A dozen roses. So roses come in 12s or a dozen. So number 12 is roses. What was number 3? Good. Which number was train tracks? Good. How about star? Okay. Which number was shoes? What was first? Number 1. Okay, good. What about number 7? Heaven. Bowling? Yeah, remember the 10 pins. Number 10. Okay. 12 being roses. So let's recap very, very quickly. Number 1, baseball. 2, shoes. 3, traffic light. 4, table. 5, starfish. 6 is soda. 7, heaven. 8, none other than our figure skating. 8, skate. Okay. 9, cats. Cats have 9 lives. 10, very easy, bowling pins. 11, train tracks. 12, roses. So I want to hear you loud and proud. Okay, I want your next door neighbors to be confused about you hollering out different stuff. So I want you to say this out loud with your mouth. What is number 3? Okay, number 5. Which number was table? How about train tracks? How about number 9? What was number 9? 12? Which one was shoes? How about traffic light? Starfish? Number 7. Number 6. Number 1. Number 12. So, you see how you can remember that? Believe it or not, you'll remember that for the rest of your life. Now you can use those scenarios to actually remember other things. Remember, this is advanced memorization. And one of the memorization techniques is actually telling yourself a story, a big, big story. So for example, let's just say you had a grocery list and you want to remember this grocery list in order. And the first thing you need to get is mayonnaise. Okay? And so you can imagine that you're pulling up to a grocery store. But this isn't a regular grocery store. This is a grocery store for giants. So everything is huge. Everything is huge. Like the door is huge. It's like 5 stories big and 5 stories wide. And you look at the supermarket name on it. It is just humongous. It's so you park your little car next to these giant cars at the grocery store. You come up to the grocery store and you're getting ready to come in, and all of a sudden it's just this huge overflow of mayonnaise. Oh, mayonnaise is everywhere like a river flowing, and it flows you out back into the parking lot. And as you get ready to come up out of this mayonnaise, you look down and you think that you're hurt because you thought this was mayonnaise because it smells like mayonnaise. But the next thing you know is, oh my God, I must be bleeding because everything is turned red. And then you realize it's turned red not because you're bleeding, but because it's not mayonnaise, it's actually ketchup. So you're like, oh my God, this is all, who spilled all this ketchup? It's like tens of thousands of gallons of ketchup everywhere. You're just swimming in this stuff and you're still trying to get to the front door. And you think, you know what goes better with ketchup, a giant thing of ketchup, than you know what, a giant thing of fries. So you go to grab some fries to put them inside the ketchup, and you realize you got to grab them one at a time because they're just so huge, and you're stuffing it in there. And so you only bite the end of it. And you're like, man, whew, this is making me tired. This is making me so tired that I'm going to need to get some napkins and wipe my head. Whew, matter of fact, and these napkins, they're not doing the job. They're huge napkins, so it's covering your whole face, right? But it's not doing a good enough job, so you just go and you jump in a huge vat of ice. A huge, like a big bowl of ice to be able to cool down because of all the swimming you had to do in this ketchup. Now, let's look back at the story. You pull up to the store. It's huge. First thing coming out is what? Right, mayonnaise. First thing on your list. You need to get mayonnaise. Mayonnaise wasn't mayonnaise because it turned into what? Ketchup. Second thing you need to get on your list is ketchup, right? Then you figure, oh man, it's ketchup. What goes good with ketchup? French fries. French fries being the next thing on your list. Now, you got tired in all the swimming and had to wipe your brow with some paper. That reminded you needed to get some papers, the papers that you wipe things up, paper towels. You're gonna need some of those, right? So that's the next thing on your list. And that's not doing the trick. So you had to go jump where? Right, in a big thing of ice. Okay, that's reminding you to bring the ice. So there's 5 things on your list that you need to bring. And if you tell yourself that story, once you get to the store, you won't have to write the stuff down. You will just remember it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, that's a lot to remember a list. Or can I do that for everything? It's like my mind is going to get filled up. Has it been filled up yet? You've been living probably more than a decade. Have you ever looked at something and said, I can't learn that because my mind is full? Okay, it doesn't happen. You remember your name, your birth date, your teacher's name, what school you go to. You remember your address, your phone number, your email address. You remember that little girl's name that you like down the hall. You remember all of this stuff. And let me tell you something, you will remember this stuff too. So no matter how elaborate the bigger the story, the more you're going to remember it. Now you can take that story idea and couple it with now your tagging that you've learned with the 1 through 12. And you can remember, for example, streams of numbers. Let's just say you had to remember the number 3125, okay? 3125. Well, we know that 3 is a traffic light, 1 is the baseball, 2 is shoes, and 5 would be a starfish, or a star. Okay, so how can we tell a story? Well, we start with 3. So you can think about you're going somewhere and you're driving this nice Lamborghini, and I mean you're going 100 miles an hour. You are moving, and it's almost flying. I mean you're moving so fast, and then you got to slam on the brakes real quick because you get to a stoplight. Okay, number 3, stoplight. So you get to that stoplight, and you're like, oh man, you're looking around, and you can't believe it because out of nowhere is the Rangers baseball team, and they just start throwing these baseballs right at your brand new Lamborghini while you're at the stoplight. You're like, oh man, this is just not cool. This is just not cool. So you've got a special Lamborghini. Okay, you got a special Lamborghini in that it doesn't have one foot pedal, it has 2. So if you want extra speed to be able to physically fly, you put both of your feet down there and both of your shoes too, okay? You both of your feet down and it just begins flying and you come off of the road and into the sky, into the stars, okay? So let's look at that story again. You got that Lamborghini, you come up to a stoplight. Number 3, the Rangers are throwing all types of baseballs at you, and they're just denting up your car, and you can't take this anymore. Baseballs, number 1, okay? So you take both feet, both shoes, and your shoes are big in this case, and you put them down. That's the number 2. Shoes down, 2 shoes, and you take off into the stars, number 5, 3, 1, 2, 5. Now you can remember much, much longer numbers with that. If you utilize these particular concepts, you'll be able to remember whatever. Now, there are different types of memorization techniques as well. We won't go into them today, but I do want you to be familiar with them. So, for example, let's just say you have to remember a speech. Very good thing for you to do is to literally tag the different speech to different places in the house. And what you want to do is you want to walk your house in a particular order, and as you stop in each particular place inside of your house, you're going to recite that particular piece of speech. And so literally, whenever you get in front of a crowd, mentally you can be walking around your house, and so that you remember that speech in order. Here, I'm over here by the couch. I'm going to talk about my opening. Then I'm going to walk over by the window, and I'm going to talk about how this particular person was born in this one particular town. Then I'm going to walk over by the other couch, and I'm going to talk about what they did in school. Then I'm going to walk over by this other couch and talk about what they did, what college they went to. Believe it or not, it's going to work great. Okay, it's called loci. Some people say loci. Okay, so you can study that particular thing. Another technique is called pegging. Almost what we did with the 1 through 12, but what you want to do is you want to number your body parts, okay? Number your body parts. You can get, I mean, it's elaborate if you want to get to, or you can just do 12 or 20 or whatever. And what you can do is you can think about different things being pegged on a different types of body parts. So you can remember what they are. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it will work. Now, once again, I want to thank you today. I thank you so much for coming, so much for getting through this, I mean, just phenomenal piece here. It takes a long time to get to GS Gold, and so I'm proud of you guys, and I'm looking forward to you going all the way through this program and being able to graduate and cross over from GS Gold. I got a special prize for you when you do. Now, your charge for today. What I want you to do is 2 things. Number 1, I want you to make a list of at least 8 numbers. Make a list of at least 8 numbers. And I want you to use the technique that we learned earlier to memorize that list of 8 numbers. Then what I want you to do is take something else that you need to learn. Let's just say it could be something in your history class. It could be something in your government class. Okay, whatever it is. And I want you to take that concept and use some of your advanced memorization techniques to remember them. Whether it's loci, whether it's telling yourself a story, to remember the bones in your body, whatever it is, I want you to take something real and utilize these memorization techniques. Thank you so much for being here today. I want you to have a phenomenal day. Stand to your feet. Let's recite this creed together. 3, 2, 1. I am a gentleman. I have honor. I do honorable things. I have integrity. I do the right thing when no one's looking. I have respect for myself and others. I value my education. I am a gentleman. I'll see you next week.